Hey PCWorld fans, I'm here with Andrej from AMD. For the folks at home who might not know who you are, what is your role at AMD?
I have a couple of roles in AMD. My primary role is leading the graphics software group, but I'm also Chief Software Officer for the AMD, which really means I'm trying to put all the software groups together so we deliver the best possible product for our customers.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, we've talked to you separately about ROCm and stuff. I wanted to talk to the gamers out there. There's obviously FSR Redstone came out late last year. You know, there's been a lot of questions, you know, some confusion, stuff like that. So I kind of want to take this opportunity to go over some of that stuff with you. It's the first time I'm seeing AMD since the announcement.
Since the announcement.
Yeah.
Well, the announcement is a kind of combination of our efforts and providing kind of new technologies to increase the gaming experience by doing some ML stuff, some machine learning stuff, some new interesting things like you know, doubling the frames or kind of multiplying the resolution or kind of improving the how we kind of trace the rays, how many rays we trace, and this all comes together in one package of kind of just making it better for the gameplay.
Okay, and I think the thing that like first off kind of confused gamers was that you dropped the number. It used to be FSR 4, now it's just FSR. And each of the technologies in them are getting their own separate number. Yeah, please help me understand the naming change.
Well, what we wanted to do is more to focus on technology and less on the number. And you're going to see that in various areas. So in the area of gaming, Redstone is going to be the name for the kind of combination of technologies that are jointly going to improve the experience. So the goal is for the gamer not really to worry about a specific numbering scheme, just the latest version of Redstone will have the best possible experience for that system, for that game.
Okay, and so I'm assuming then in the future other bundles will have other code names, or is Redstone like?
I think Redstone is one that is going to move forward as the name, while the other pieces will have their own names, probably not the code names, more they're going to continue the naming of the FSR, various FSR technologies as we use them before.
Okay, so potentially in the future, and I know you're not talking about future products, but maybe a future GPU won't support, you know, one piece of the FSR Redstone bundle, but it'll support the other, even though it still is technically Redstone?
Well, as we are talking about the future GPUs, we are moving forward with future GPUs. So it's unlikely that they're not going to support something. If they don't support something that is available today, that's only because we have something better to offer.
Oh, okay, so maybe there's something better to offer, and then it would be a new bundle with a new name?
That's a possibility.
A possibility,
but
okay.
I'm not the right person to talk about naming it. I'm a techno geek, so we can speak how we do that. The naming guys will come with a cool name.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? It was just,
Absolutely,
it was confusing, shocking. You know, people like to see a bigger number. Around here we say bigger bar better. So, okay, so let's get into some of the feature sets then. So, one of the technologies in Redstone is neural radiance caching. Yeah. So, and that's not available in any games right now. Can you, or is it?
No, right now, excuse me, it's not available in games. We're working on enabling it in various games. We do need to work with game developers to enable it. It's a new and relatively complicated technique, and they have to understand how to use it, how to best place it in front of the user. The challenge with all of these technologies is if you don't use them in the right way, they can actually clash with each other. And so the gaming experience is not right. So working with the game developer is the essence. We very much kind of invest in that joint definition of what's the best for that particular title, for that particular game engine.
Okay. Do we have any estimation on when you know, something will?
Some
come
titles
out with
are in the
neural
works.
radiance
That's the
caching?
best I can tell you that.
Okay. So when I look at the suite of technologies, you know, we've got the scaling, we've got the frame generation kind of stuff. That's for the end user. I feel like neural radiance caching is more for like something that will help developers, or is it really like something that end users need to worry about?
No, end users can enable or disable the super resolution or the frame doubling. It's and that depends on their preference. It's sometimes it's you want to play in the native resolution, and you have a system that supports that. So why not? But if you have a system that doesn't, then you want to render at a smaller resolution, kind of upscale it. Similar with the frame doubling. If you're already playing at 200 frames per second, I mean, do you need 400? You probably don't. It's kind of depends, of course. But the question then is more about the quality. If you're talking about the race, there are a few things related to the race. You cannot possibly have enough rays to constantly kind of lighten the scene. So the two technologies related to the ray tracing are related to recasting specific rays to improve the quality of the scene, or the other thing that's very important is to get into the point where you can apply AI algorithm to smoothen out the result that rays gives you. Because if in an technically impossible world where you would have like kind of millions and millions of rays, you would get an absolutely perfect image. But technologically, that's not actually required. You can have a few rays, and then you can have various algorithms to kind of make that image right. So these two technologies have to be used within the game to embellish the lighting, to give you the better effects. So I don't see the end users very much turning these off and on. The game one.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah, because like it's paired with two technologies where the end user gets to control it, but then the ray reconstruction, neural radiance caching, there's not going to be a toggle. It's not something they care about. So why even surface that to the end user?
We are a technology company. We are surfacing the things that we are getting ready to eventually present to the end user. So end user may not see the particular thing toggled on and off, but they're going to see the quality of the game and the experience, and that's what Redstone brings you.
Okay, good. And then so all these technologies are limited to RDNA4, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So why is that? Maybe remind people.
Well, it's kind of the way it works is if you look at the technology just moves forward. So our products get better and better, get new features, get new throughputs in terms of either clock or memory. So at one point in time, some new technology just simply will not provide the right experience. It's not a question whether you want to enable it or not. It's if we enable it and it actually doesn't give the right experience to end user, it's useless. So that's the reason we are deciding to move forward and with some new stuff. Whatever we feel is useful and can be done on some of the older products, we do it. But quite often we try and then realize that the net result is not going to improve the experience. And it's all about better gaming, better, faster response, better quality on the screen, kind of sharpness of your image.
Okay. And what do you think about the people who are doing their own hacks to get FSR upscaling from Redstone to work on older RDNA3 GPUs?
Well, frankly, all the power to them. I'm a geek myself, so I would do that for any technology. Just try whether it works or not. And frankly, it may work for their specific title, for their specific machine. What we do, we try to provide a seamless experience to all the gamers. And the combinations of the games, memory systems, processor, GPUs out there actually doesn't allow us to create a product that will make most of our users happy. So that's why we decided to cut the line.
Okay, well, could there be an opportunity to make like a beta version of Redstone that'll run on RDNA3? So you're not forcing out all users, that they have to go out and reach out for an experimental kind of thing.
Well, that's currently not in the plan, but thanks for the hint. We may want to think about something like that and kind of provide that to people who want to play with that. It's the challenge is always how to clearly define that. So if you offer to help us define it as a prototype, I'm interested in thinking about that. Because sometimes if we release something that is not optimal, there will be, of course, a comment that doesn't work. Well, we knew that from the start. That's the reason we did it.
Yeah. Well, you went out, but if you're forcing it on the user to say, hey, well, you went out and downloaded this special version of the software to try it out, so the impetus is on
so if I have your promise to help us out with that, we'll discuss how to do that.
There you go. Yeah. I think the root of the thing is that you have a lot of passionate gamers who still have older RDNA GPUs, and they want to continue to use them. Is there any plans right now to have a separate driver version that will maybe add new features to RDNA 3 based platforms that is separate from the Redstone stuff?
Well, we are constantly adding the features to the older systems. The question really is, do we have the hardware support for these Redstone techniques to actually do it right? Because if you are doubling the frames, you have to do that within one frame. If you don't have enough time to do that, to do the machine learning operations required, then you have actually to reduce the frame rate in order to double it.
Okay. Well, I'm just thinking like for upscaling, right? I've used the Strix-Halo Ryzen AI Max platform. I love it. The GPU performance is great, but it's limited to RDNA 3.5. And I'm like, okay, could there be a separate track where RDNA 3.5 continues to improve on the trajectory they have, and RDNA 4 is kind of going in a different trajectory?
We are looking at the options there, so that's the best I can say. We are constantly looking what out of the new technologies can be ported to the system that is already out there, and we are definitely not going to withhold anything that really makes a difference.
Okay. And then I want to talk about the drivers specifically because there's a lot of helpful stuff in there, and AMD has done a lot to kind of push it forward. A lot of the Redstone features. You say, oh, Redstone is enabled or supported in a game, but it's only supported as a driver override versus natively integrated into the game. My feeling is always that, like, gamers to make them have an extra step to make sure the override is enabled in the driver, and then in the game, kind of thing is confusing. And I think ultimately, like, it would be great if just everything's integrated into the game. Like, why continue to push the driver override?
Well, you're on the right path. Ideally, it would be completely seamless to the gamer. The challenge is that because we are providing two different versions of these technologies. There is one that is sitting in a driver, and therefore you actually don't have to do much in a game. And there is another option where a game developer can decide to pull it into the game. So these two versions need to work in unison. And it's always a question how, again, to reach the most of our population. Because if we decide, okay, the driver one will not be there anymore, there are a number of games, especially kind of some older games that can benefit from that will not implement the technology. So that's the balance. We do ask you to go to a step in order to help us kind of again, get the best possible experience.
Okay. And once again, it's something power users like myself that you can go in and change it. So I guess the other way to say it is that it's good to have the options, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're not waiting on the developers to try to implement it. You get some options. But like the other question I have is, recently I've switched over to Linux gaming on my desktop, and unfortunately that driver right now there is a Linux driver, but it's only for Ubuntu. I'm on Fedora. So I can't get some of these driver override features. I have to wait for the developers to put them in the game. Any plans to kind of bring those features to Linux users?
Linux is kind of a community-driven thing more than anything else. We of course have our drivers, we drive our drivers, but we are also very much supporting the developments of the RADV and kind of Linux for longest supported the OpenGL kind of type of games. In Linux, we are more looking into enabling the community than driving the features ourselves. That's the approach to Linux gaming. We are very much focused on Linux on enabling the developers to do the work in gaming and the work in AI, rather than us kind of pushing these features out.
Okay, so you're saying if somebody wanted to create their own software front end where you could do Radeon driver overrides in there, that's something that...
Absolutely. We provide a complete set of libraries for anybody to go ahead and develop that. That's on Windows, this is called ADLX. It's a library of all the toggles and features in a driver that our Adrenalin kind of driver and interface uses, and it is available to any developer or any OEM to implement in their system.
Okay. But before we get out of here, thank you. I know your time is limited. You kind of talked about something that you announced here at CES, and it's the Adrenalin AI bundle. Now, at first I was like, not a big deal. But you think this applies to gamers? Like, help sell the gamers about this new AI bundle.
There are two ways it applies to gamers. I know that that gamers are looking at AI and saying, okay, okay, it's, all this AI is bumping up the price of our graphic chips, so therefore gaming becomes more expensive. Well, honestly, that's true. But the reality is that the graphic chip that you have in your system is a very powerful AI device. And I'm sure all of the gamers out there are using ChatGPT, are using various image generation tools. You can't be out in the world today and not actually touch AI a little bit.
It's getting a little harder.
Well, it's absolutely. So what we decided to do is, okay, let's kind of dispel this big myth about big AI kind of coming at you. Your system, and that can be your system with the Radeon graphics in there, or your system like these notebooks over here, are very powerful AI devices. And if you're a gamer, you're most likely not like you playing on Linux. You're most likely playing on Windows. And there is not much Windows AI out there. It's there is of course Microsoft stuff with their Copilot, and but just the everyday AI that you get from, let's say, ChatGPT, it's not available. So what we decided to do in the Adrenalin on, I think, January 21st, as you install the new version of Adrenalin, it is going to have a little click box that is going to ask you, do you want to install an AI bundle?
Okay, so it's optional.
100% optional.
Okay.
You don't have to take it 100% optional, but what is that going to give you the power of AI on your notebook or on your system without really getting into too much of the trouble of installing, finding the right thing to do. The very seamless installation process is going to install ROCm, the ones we talked about last time, on your Windows system. So that's a difference right now compared to standard Linux ROCm. It's going to be on the Windows system, and on the top of ROCm, we are going to install PyTorch. So people who don't know, PyTorch is the main playing ground for adjusting the models, training the models, doing the inference. On the top of PyTorch, we are going to install ComfyUI, which is a tool for video editing, AI video editing. So gamers out there actually want to create interesting videos. They maybe want to create very interesting images. We are going to provide Amuse as the tool, again coming directly on your system, that is going to provide various abilities to create images. And it can be the images of, I don't know, you want to place your kids on a nice beach in Nassau or something like that. But the most important thing is you are doing that to the privacy of your system. Once you install this complete AI bundle on your system, you can plug the internet off or turn off Wi-Fi, whatever. You are in the privacy of your system doing the AI on various video editing, image editing, or we are installing a couple of tools like LM Studio and Olama for the large language network models. They're smaller on your system, but with strict systems you get 128 gigabytes. So it's a huge memory, and you know that thing can help you do your taxes in the privacy of your system.
Okay, so and you think, like, gamers already have the hardware, so why not try it out? How easy is it to actually try out as somebody who has never done it before?
It's 100% easy, and we are also what you're going to see. There will be, as you are installing it, will just kind of rotate some of the images, telling you what you can do and how you can do it. But it's easy as click and explore the new application. So what I'm offering to gamers is you have the phenomenal system. Please continue playing games. We love games, of course, right? But try something else, because that AI is eventually going to bring you the games that are going to be more interesting. Just imagine the games where non-playable characters start interacting with you. So they're not just walking like this. They come to you and tell you something, or maybe give you a clue. That works. Or just think about the game that has a changing terrain. So it's not the static game that you are used to. AI can, underneath of the game, actually go and do terrain manipulation, and your game is different every time. So I'm asking gamers to learn about that and give us ideas, and some of these technologies then we implement in Redstone and technologies like that.
Okay, well, you heard it. Get down in the comments, let them know what you think of it. Try it out January 21st?
January 21st.
Okay.
Click on AI bundle. That's
AI
it.
bundle. Okay, there you go. Well, thank you, Andrej, for talking with me. I really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. We got more videos from CES 2026. Be sure to subscribe here on PC World. We'll catch you in the next one.
Thank you all.